Fateh. I'm very pleased to be joined in this week's community talk with Darminder Singh Ghataoura. Darminder, whose first degree was an engineering degree, is also CTO, Chief Technology Officer, an AI data scientist, and now the Defence and National Security Advisor at Fujitsu UK. Darminder is an experienced AI and data science leader with a solid background in applying machine learning and data science techniques to diverse real-world data problems. This is a very topical and important area for the whole world at the moment. And Darminder has experience with businesses, management, and active engagement in enhancing existing data solutions, methodologies, and developing new data-driven approaches. Darminder, welcome to SIKH Channel Community Talks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. And you work in an extremely important area of technology and IT, data and AI. And AI has become a huge buzzword at the moment. You can't
Yep.
open up any publication of any type without reading about AI. So perhaps before we get into that, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where were you born, and a little bit about your childhood.
Yep, sure, absolutely. So, hi, my name's Darminder, born and bred in the UK. And from background perspective, engineering degree, and from there I kind of went into more software engineering. If you talk to any engineers who started off as engineers, they've always kind of naturally navigated towards software, and that's where my sort of data sort of driven data led activities began. Family wise, both my parents are from East Africa. We came over as refugees in 1972 as part of as you well know, the Idi Amin situation. So we settled in this country, came as refugees, had to spend mum and dad told me about 8 months in a refugee camp. We were then housed in accommodation, and kind of like the family kind of settled in Hertfordshire, where we got our first accommodation, and really haven't really moved from the area a lot. So for my perspective, my upbringing has always been about we've start from roots and solid foundations of we've go through a series of challenges in life, and we have to overcome them, and you always have to try and do your best and to resettle yourself, and that's kind of been kind of the upbringing that has been passed on from my parents, and it's been like that. So everything is always if you've got to drive and you want to achieve something in life, you have to believe in yourself, take the challenge forward. Of course, always believe in the Almighty, because He's always behind you. Be humble and learn from others. I think that's a great experience. You have to accept that you don't know everything, therefore you have to learn from others and take those whatever advice you get from people around you on board, and take it that forward.
That's tremendous. Thank you very much for that. And why technology and IT? Was that by accident or by design? Did you start off as a gamer playing arcade games and computer games?
Sure. So my first ever console game was a Super Nintendo back in the day. So about 1993 when it came out. And I think from a technology perspective, I think I've always had a kind of like an interest in putting things together. So be it very simple, I've always been inquisitive to find out how things work and how things essentially fit together. And technology has always been part of that play. So early days at school, I joined a lot of the kind of like modelling clubs, clubs which were offered to us around after school, where you could try out experiments, modeling, and the engineering side of things. So that kind of gave me a kind of nice feel into sort of the field. Um, and I think working together, I think technology is not um, a single thing, a single person thing. It's a team driven activity. You naturally have to work together as teams to accomplish goals. And that's the thing I really enjoy also within sort of technologies, working with others from different backgrounds and different diversities, bringing their own different perspectives into the problem, and how you can solve that collectively as a team. I think that's very important. And working forward together as teams, because it's for the greater good rather than for the single person. So I think that team working, kind of working with others, and kind of looking at people's strengths and how they can be brought together to kind of solve problems. I think that's where I had the drive for technology and kind of brought technology forward with me. So yeah, it's been sort of part and parcel of me, to be honest.
That's great. And you've got quite a senior role now in charge of security, IT security for Jitsu UK at a relatively young age. Can you tell us about that particular role, how that came to be, and is that a
Yeah,
lot of responsibility?
it is a responsible role. No, with responsibility comes leadership. So you have to essentially lead from the top. Leadership is all about creative, inclusive environments. From my perspective, it's about being emotionally in touch with your team, recognizing their challenges and trying to help them solve those problems, and essentially removing blockade blocks that prevent them from doing their work. So part of my role is to understand, from an AI perspective, some of the technologies that the company need to essentially adopt, get ready for, and that's partly technology, but also skills in terms of existing skills in the team. People constantly need to evolve their skill sets to match the technology trends, and keep themselves relevant in the marketplace. So part of my role
Especially
is to,
when IT is a very fast moving environment. I mean, are
yeah.
you always constantly training and trying to play catch up?
So from an AI perspective, increasingly, because as you correctly said at the beginning, there's a lot of innovation and initiatives that have taken place. Um, I think when it comes to catch up, it's about being very strategic in terms of how you use technology. So, for example, national security, it's a very risk-based sector. So, technology is there and it helps people, enable them to do better things, but it has to be matched with a level of risk-based acceptance. So, um, what we do is try to take technology as a very much a risk-driven approach, making sure that we don't leave open gaps for people to exploit. And I think that's very important with especially AI at the moment, where it's becoming more and more commercial. So you've heard of innovations around ChatGPT and now GPT-4, for example. But now you're hearing stories that they tend to leak personal data to others who utilize the same tools. So for us, that's a big no-go. So we have to be very, very careful from that perspective. Um, but you're right. I mean, it's about keeping in touch with the technologies, and that can be done in two ways. That can be done through your team and having a very relevant, strong external network around you that can help you essentially keep in touch with those technology trends and share ideas.
The pandemic changed a lot in the world. It changed the way people work, and technology was a big part of that. It's also changed healthcare. There's been a massive backlog in the NHS, and medical sciences have suffered a lot. And there's been a change in online shopping. How has the world of technology changed for you after the pandemic? Has there been a lot of not just home working or greater use of IT tools, but were there big leaps and bounds in technology?
Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned the biggest change for me has been that home working, hybrid working. I think realizing now that because of technology, we can be remote and work anywhere in the country. So for me, when I'm looking to recruit and build teams, my geography is no longer restricted anymore. I'm able to recruit people from different locations, and that technology has helped to a certain degree with that process. Um, so and people are now flexible in terms of how they work and where they work. I think for me also, you mentioned the personalization of technology around users. So for example, your shopping habits to your online activities essentially are becoming more and more personalized against what you like, what you tend to um, search online, what you tend to buy, for example. I think technology is certainly making lifestyle choices for a lot of people different. So I think technology has increased the number of choices that now we can make and are able to do um, in terms of anything, lifestyle, shopping, even to some degree travel, um, and transportation. So I think choice is there. It's up to individuals to make those right choices. Um, but I think certainly from being restricted to doing anything, that's much more less and less these days. So and I think as youngsters grow up, they'll increasingly find that to be the case. That they are no longer restricted by what they can do. Um, Technology will actually help them and achieve some of their goals from an education perspective as well. So you sort of like coming into the classroom and kind of personalized teaching um, will help students become better equipped according to their different learning habits, for example. So these things are constantly trying to help us improve the way that we become better individuals and more productive. I think that's the biggest
Part of
change.
part of the productivity drive, AI, some people say AI is as important as when the internet started. When the internet started, the whole
Sure.
world came onto it gradually. And over the years, the internet's changed our lives beyond recognition. Is AI equally important as the internet?
Yeah. So if you look at the internet created a connected world. Um, we keep on saying the world is a much more smaller place because we're able to connect with others around the globe much more easily. So the world itself has reduced in terms of connectivity, and AI is merely going to accelerate that process more and more, especially when we now look towards technologies that look to augment ourselves within a multiverse setting. We can now transport, well, in the future, we'll be able to transport ourselves to different places in the world to have virtual meetings, for example. And AI will be able to achieve those outcomes by creating those virtualized spaces and personalized spaces. So a great example is multiverse technologies, powered by AI, being used in the classroom to reenact historical scenes, for example, in history. So children get an appreciation of what it felt like and what it looked like when a particular, for example, historical battle or historical event took place. And that's a great way of immersing, um, especially children at a young age, into a realistic scenario, so they can actually appreciate what it felt like. So you're much more emotionally attached to the scene and to the event. Um, and I think that's going to be again accelerated by the use of AI. Um, and with if you ask any AI practitioner, they'll always say that the holy grail, the kind of the main aim for any AI is to get to a point where it's no longer you can no longer feel as though that the AI is a human or not, and it's that point of singularity they call. Um, let's see how long that takes, because with GPT-4 and ChatGPT, those technologies have certainly created responses that you can get that feel like human like, for example. But it doesn't exhibit general intelligence, and I think that's where as practitioners we want to eventually aim for. That's going to take a process and time, and of course that's going to raise a lot of interesting questions as a society in general, how much we're willing to accept that change, both governmental level, regulation level, even law and ethics, for example.
That's
So
right. And in terms of disruption, AI is going to be very disruptive. It's already started disrupting a lot of jobs. For example, content creation, the use of Bard, ChatGPT. They can churn out huge amounts of content very easily on a range of subjects. And so some jobs are already being disrupted. And there's always that fear about jobs. But I think it's probably the case. It's going to make humans more productive rather than unemployed.
yeah, absolutely. So because typically where we employ AI use cases are in scenarios where it takes humans a lot of time to do. So these are kind of the mundane background tasks that a lot of people have to do as part of their roles and part of their jobs. So we're trying to remove that block between in terms of how people work and ways of working. Um, and so when they get released from that mundane task, they're able to do something else. That could either be to upskill themselves in a new life learning skill, or to become a bit more productive in their current roles and their current jobs. And I think that's where um, the main use of AI will focus on for the time being, looking at sort of use cases around removing those kind of time-intensive, time-consuming tasks that a lot of people have to do. I think that's, for me, that's a good thing because human beings are a very innovative species. We like to think and outside the box. We like to try new things, new ideas, new experiments, new ways in which we want to experience things. And I think with sort of the advent of AI, I think it will encourage us to become more innovative and think about new things in different ways, which will increase innovation in general and new inventions, I think, in the future, because we now have more time to think, more time to actually communicate with individuals, with other humans, as work as teams. And for me, that's going to encourage life skills because we naturally have to communicate as a species. We don't. The more we lock ourselves away, the more um, you know sad and unemotional we get. So we do need human to human contact. That's naturally how we evolved as a species. So I think with that AI being able to release some of that and encourage us to become more of those interactive type individuals, will create a new set of skills that people would have to learn, and how you do that.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Darminder, for sharing your thoughts about AI and technology. Finally, just in a few words, what's your prediction for 5 years along this AI timeline? 5 years' time, where do you think AI will be?
Well, I mean, 5 years is a long time. You can sort of feel that within sort of every few months, 3 4 months, new things are coming out. Um, so personally, I think with the advent of AI, I think we'll, as humans, will start to accept more of this as part of our lives. So I think, as I said, it'd be in 5 years' time. I would probably see individuals having a new way of working, interacting differently, and being able to do much more better things in technology because of technology, and from an AI perspective. Um, so I think we'll see changes in how we work, what we do with our spare time. Um, I think we'll be able to do much more better things in terms of how the things that we've always wanted to do, and being able to do them more in terms of our time and availability of time. So I think time will be released to the individual to then essentially do what they want to do. So again, it becomes a choice, and it's all about right choices that we have to pick. So we have to kind of engage our citizens to think about good choices, not bad choices. When this advent of AI technology will become more incorporated into our lives, I think.
Thank you very much, Darminder. And we'd like you to perhaps join us periodically. As you say, every 4 to 6 months, technology is moving very fast, with an
Sure.
update on the progress of AI and your own work. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts about
Thank you so much.
technology, in particular AI, and we hope to keep in touch with you.
Thank you so much for having me, and great to be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Darminder. Thank you. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.